The iPhone is the most profitable device that Apple has ever created. $43 billion, and that's just in the fourth quarter of 2023. Now that's an astounding amount of money, but the reason they make that much money is because the iPhone 15 Pro cost $1,000 for the base model. And if you ask me, that's a lot of your hard-earned money. So today we're gonna ask the question, in the long run, is the iPhone 15 Pro worth it? The iPhone 15 Pro is 3 months old now, and that's more than enough time to get a good feel of how this phone is gonna be long-term. So the first thing I love about the iPhone is the titanium that Apple went with this year. It looks so clean. I've always been a huge fan of space gray and the silver on the MacBook Pros. It is great to have an iPhone that kind of looks a little bit like that. It kind of has a matte feel to the iPhone, and what's great about it is it's not a fingerprint magnet, so when you're touching it, it doesn't retain that oil long term. And if you ask me, it just kind of looks almost surgical in the design. I love the titanium finish. It just looks so clean. And so far, it's been pretty scratch resistant. I mean, every phone is gonna get little nicks and dings on it, but it looks great long term. Now, one complaint I have about kind of the physical design of this is the MagSafe magnet on the back of this iPhone. It's not super strong, and so all of your MagSafe accessories, you're gonna have to probably get a case, and that's what a lot of people have done to get around that. But it's gonna cover up that sleek design. I mean, you buy this phone, it's so expensive, you want it to look nice. But if you wanna use accessories like the MagSafe wallet, you're gonna have to get a case. Next, let's talk about the action button on the side of the iPhone. Now, that was a pretty big design shift for Apple. They've always had the little flip switch that was the silent mode or not. This is a programmable button. You can program it to many different things, especially once you use the shortcut app. It's really helpful. But I actually don't like the design all that much. Here's why. When you press the button, and you can have it go to your camera or a flashlight, many different things, but if something hits it in your pocket and it's held up against it, it's going to activate the phone. And so there's some people who've been complaining that their battery life dies a lot faster because of accidentally pressing this button. So an example of this is that if it's in your pocket, maybe it's pressed up against your AirPods case or something like that, and your flashlight goes off, in like 2 hours, your battery's gonna be dead. But what I have it programmed to is the camera. I feel like that's the most sensible one. You just hold on to it. You can see it in the overhead cam here. It goes right to the camera. It's the fastest way. Yes, on the lock screen, there is the camera button, but this is just so much easier ergonomic for your hand. That's why they did it. Next, we need to talk about some controversy with the USB-C port, but before we do that, I want to thank today's sponsor, Andar. We all know that Apple is a luxury brand, but everybody has an Apple product these days, and so you don't stand out anymore. But one of the ways you can stand out is by owning one of these amazing cases from today's sponsor, Andar. Today, we're talking about the Helm and the Capsule by Andar. Now, nothing speaks amazing quality to me like full-grain leather. When I opened this package, it smelled of high quality leather, and I was so impressed. For the helm, it has all the cutouts that you need so you can access all of your ports, and it even has vents on the bottom of the case so that your computer doesn't overheat. So not only is it beautiful, but it's also extremely functional. And what I love about these is as leather ages, it gets more and more unique over time. So you will have a case that nobody else has. The next item is the capsule, and if I'm honest, I don't really like the all-white look of the AirPod case, but this leather case from Andar looks so sick. The inside of the capsule case is all microfiber, so the outside of your AirPod case won't get all scratched up. And if you didn't know, leather is an extremely tough material, so your AirPods will stay protected. And even though it's covered all around, you can still use Qi charging, and it has a cutout if wired charging is your thing. On this channel, I only like to support companies that have high quality products, and Andar has these full grain leather cases. They are so beautiful. I highly recommend them. So if you want to stand out, this is definitely the way to do it. I left a link in the description below where you can get 15% off with the code JATECH. Thanks again, Andar, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. All right, so let's get into the USB-C. Why does this device have USB-C and not the Lightning port? It's because some laws passed in Europe, and it forced Apple, if they wanted to sell iPhones in Europe, they had to put the USB-C in. And so everybody around us is thanking Europe for this law because it makes the iPhone so much better. So here's my favorite thing about the USB-C port. It is actually functional. When you use this device, and it's got such a great camera, which we'll talk about later, you can actually plug in an SSD and record straight to that. It's absolutely amazing. So for a lot of creative professionals, they've actually moved to the iPhone 15 Pro or the Pro Max because this port is just so lightning fast and it's got so much functionality. Here's the controversy. When I purchased this phone, I thought I was gonna be using USB-C all the time, but I still find MagSafe charging so much more convenient. Now, what's controversial about that opinion, I thought most people were that way, and in a previous video, when I did the iPhone 15, I said that most people were going to use the MagSafe charger anyways, and I got a plethora of people saying I was absolutely wrong. So apparently people still plug their phones in. That's their primary way of charging their phone. I don't know why. MagSafe is so much more convenient. But if that's you, the USB-C port is great because then when you travel, you're only bringing one cable to do your computer, your phone, your iPad. It's an awesome future with USB-C. Now, if you want to see that video where I apparently make a fool of myself, I'll put it in the description below, or I'll link it at the end of this video. Next, let's talk about the camera on this phone. The camera is what sets this phone apart. It is so beautiful. It's 3 lenses, but it's got multiple focal lengths, which are 24, 28, and 35 millimeters. If that doesn't make sense to you, that just means that as the focal lengths increase, it gets closer and closer to the image, but it still remains crystal clear. Now for me, my favorite lens on the iPhone is always the wide angle lens. Now the other great thing about the iPhone is that the stabilization is amazing. If you are taking video, walking down the street, if you're doing that, it is just so amazingly stable. People have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on gimbals to make stable footage, but with the iPhone and the computational photography, it's just outstanding to not need some big expensive rig. You can just have your phone. And on that same note, this shoots with Apple Log. Now log footage is so helpful to work with when you're outdoors because it just kind of squashes the footage, meaning you get a lot of information in the highlights and a lot of information in the shadows. I've seen videos of this where I had no idea it was shot on an iPhone 15 Pro. That's how good Apple Log is. And the final thing with the insides is that the battery life on this device is absolutely phenomenal. I've used the phone all day, filmed video on it, played games on it, all that kind of stuff, and have had no problems getting into bed at the end of the day with a battery that still lasts. And I know for a lot of people, they're still rocking the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 13, and you're probably getting to the point where your battery life is dying quick. It might be time to upgrade for you for this sole feature alone. Now, if colors of a phone is important to you, this phone does not have many colors. It's got a neutral, a white, a blue, and a black color of the titanium finish. I really like them, but my wife, who likes colorful things, she does not. But with those colors, I think my favorite one is the natural titanium, just because it's different than what iPhones have been in the past. But man, that blue titanium, it looks so clean and so good. So if I was gonna get anything other than this titanium, the natural titanium, I would get the blue one. Next, we need to talk about the price of these iPhones. Now, this is where things get a little bit ridiculous. iPhones used to be like $300, $400, $500. Now, the base model starts at $999. And then if you want the faster USB-C and the bigger screen, it's going to be $1199. That is a lot of money for a phone. And then with the Pro Max, if you want to move up to 512, it's going to be $1399, and then 1 terabyte is going to be $1599. But maybe you're a creative professional and you need that terabyte of space on your phone because, like I said, this has Apple Log and ProRes. Those files are enormous. Maybe that's you. You're going to be shelling out so much cash for this. So if you're going to be getting this, make sure you're selling your old phone and trying to make up for it in any way you can, because that is a whole lot of money. Now, I will say this, if you do spend all this money on the phone and you get the extra storage, it is going to last you a very long time. It's going to last you 4, 5, maybe 6 years. Now, there's going to be a lot of great phones that come out now between then, so if you can hold off, it's not a bad purchase. All right, so the question is, after 3 months of use, who do I think actually needs to upgrade to this phone? So if you're using your current phone and you haven't noticed anything slow down on it, you 100% do not need to upgrade. Just because a new device comes out every year, you don't have to get it. And like I said, the reason I like Apple products is because they last a long time. If you're trying to be as green as Apple wants you to be, the best thing you can do is not order a new phone. But maybe you find yourself in that place where your battery life is dying halfway through the day. It's probably time for you to upgrade your phone, and this battery is going to last all day no matter what. Or maybe you're somebody who needs those new camera features like that ProRes or that Apple Log. This is definitely the phone for you. But if you are one of those people and you're trying to make the decision if you should upgrade to the 15 or the 15 Pro, I think you should watch this video right here. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you all in the next one.